And I think intensive is a very good word to describe this event, because the expectation and the scrutiny on all of us to step up and make change is intense. It's clear to everybody that data protection is essential for our democracy. And that's why last spring, my office launched a comprehensive inquiry into the use of data protection in political campaigns. The Cambridge Analytica Facebook allegations is only one line of inquiry in our broader investigation. But of course, that line of inquiry was heightened in February when whistleblowers came forward with their stories. In all, in our inquiry, we're looking at 30 organizations, social media platforms, data companies, political campaigns, political parties, to pull back the curtain and to be able to understand how the use of personal data takes place in modern political campaigns. So our report is going to describe the realities of the data-driven campaign. Are the rules clear? How is personal data use enabling the micro-targeting of adverts and campaigns? What public policy changes can we recommend? One thing I will say is that I've never been involved in an investigation that is playing out so publicly, with witnesses giving evidence on YouTube, with witnesses coming forward to Congress, coming forward to Parliament, and so many details published online. Speculation is rife, but our investigation will be thorough, it'll be independent, it'll be focused, and we will make our findings and our conclusions public. If we find that the law has been breached, we will take the necessary enforcement action. But as I've mentioned, this investigation is ongoing, this investigation is live, and it wouldn't be appropriate for me to give you a running commentary. But I do want to use this case to comment on our powers and also on the unique nature of data protection regulation. As a regulator, we need to investigate systems in situ to see how personal data are actually being used and being managed. The unique nature of modern data protection regulation is that our role means understanding the effect that algorithms and analytics has on decision making. We have to look at the interrelatedness of data and the effect that they have on decisions. And we also may have to look at these effects in very short time periods and in the context of a fast-moving investigation. So under the GDPR, I will have the power to audit all of those who hold and use and share personal data. So in other words, soon I'll be able to look behind the curtain and see what those who hold our personal data are doing with it. But in the context of this investigation, the GDPR audit power is already being outpaced by technological advances in data analytics. And I want to see that addressed. I'm in intense discussion with government to ensure that, as part of the data protection bill, the ICO has the ability to move more quickly to obtain the information that we need to carry out our investigations in the public interest. Of course, we need to respect the rights of companies, but we also need streamlined warrant processes with a lower threshold than we currently have in the law. We need the regime to reflect the reality that data crimes are real crimes. And as society moves increasingly online, data protection law needs to have the comprehensive reach that people would expect of laws in the physical world. I wanted to tell you this morning about how I'm reshaping my organization so that we can be the relevant and the future-focused regulator that all of you expect us to be. DP Day is only 27 working days away by my calculation, but the 25th of May will merely mark the end of the beginning of a very long journey for the data protection community. As the regulator of the GDPR, we support, we educate, we consult, we audit, and we enforce. And from my seat, where I sit, we're expecting more of everything. More breach reports, because the law requires it in certain high-risk situations. More complaints, because people are becoming more aware of their data protection rights. And greater engagement with all of you as you turn to us for advice at the outset of your projects and submit your DPIAs to us. I'm leading an ICO that's made up of incredibly committed people who are equipped to meet the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead for us. They've all given their consent for their photograph to be shared with you. They really have. So what am I doing? I'm strengthening my team in both numbers and in expertise. We'll be ready to deliver on our responsibilities and obligations to organizations, but also, more importantly, to the public. The ICO's future funding model has also been agreed by Parliament, taking our current budget of £24 million a year to £38 million in 2018-2019. We're recruiting at all levels of the organization for our offices in Edinburgh and Cardiff, Belfast, Wilmslow, and London. I hope I didn't miss anyone out. To give us the capacity and the capability and the resilience to be able to tackle our growing regulatory brief. We have a current headcount of about 520, and we expect our numbers to increase to 700 by 2020. And to give you a sense, we have right now 200 caseworkers that are taking in the complaints from the public. We have a 60-strong enforcement group that are taking forward investigations. And we have a similar number that are charged with policy and guidance and assistance to the community. The ICO has provided a whole suite of resources on our website, including the Guide to the GDPR, which has been accessed 2.5 million times. We have interactive checklists, we have industry-specific FAQs, we have a special SME helpline, which gets 2,500 calls a week. And we're going to be assessing our demand for our services as the GDPR goes live and beyond, and adjust accordingly. And I think all of you in the room are in the same place as I am. There's nothing like taking advantage of a comprehensive change in the law to develop and to grow and, in a sense, to reinvent ourselves. So over the past 18 months, the ICO has undergone a phenomenal internal change program. We know that we need to be the tech-savvy, relevant regulator, which is why I've recently published the ICO's first technology strategy. We've identified 3 areas of focus: cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and device tracking. And those 3 areas will inform our guidance, our proactive work, our audits, and our advisory services. And taking proactivity further, we want to recognize that innovation is absolutely essential in this space. We're working to establish a regulatory sandbox for you to beta test your new initiatives so that we can support innovative new products, digital products and services, whilst ensuring that the right safeguards are in place. We intend to focus our sandbox on AI applications, and will launch this new program in 2019 after we finish the consultation that'll take place this year. And I hope that you'll engage with us fully with our consultation and bring the benefit of your industry experience to the ICO. So our technology strategy is based on the strong belief that privacy and innovation go hand in hand. It also allows us to build our own technical skills, recruiting and retaining technology expertise, and establishing partnerships on tech issues with outside experts, with other regulators, and certainly with international networks. We've launched an active secondment program, which so far has brought in an influx of new talent into the office in the form of legal staff and auditors, digital forensic expertise, and international liaison experts. And our secondment program is open-ended, so we'd be delighted to hear from you if you believe your skills and experience would complement the ICO. Digital regulation has become the spine or the backbone that runs through our entire organization. We're also taking this opportunity to relaunch our regulatory action policy, which sets out the pragmatic and the policy approach that we're going to take in discharging our duty as the UK's data protection regulator. And there'll be more detail on our regulatory action policy from our Deputy Commissioner, James Dipple-Johnston, tomorrow. I've spent a lot of time busting myths in this area, and I think particularly misinformation that massive fines are going to be the ICO default position after the 25th of May. I have no intention of changing our proportionate and pragmatic approach after the 25th of May. The aim of our office is to prevent harm, and we place support and compliance at the heart of our regulatory action. Voluntary compliance is still the preferred route. But we will back that up with tough action where it's necessary. Hefty fines can and will be levied on those organizations that persistently, that deliberately, and negligently flout the law. Report to us, engage with us, show us your effective accountability measures. And if you do, that's going to be a really important factor when we consider any regulatory action. And now we have a whole new set of tools for compliance. Privacy by default design, data protection officers, accountability mechanisms, all of these things and more form an integrated package. And when we do apply a sanction, fines will not always be the most appropriate or the most effective choice. Compulsory data protection audits, reprimands, warnings, enforcement notices, and stop processing orders are often going to be the most appropriate tools. And none of those tools involves writing a check to the Treasury, but they will have a significant impact on a company's bottom line. Another of the myths that I've worked really hard to dispel is around data breach reporting under the GDPR. And I know we've said it many times, but it's worth repeating that you will not need to report all personal data breaches to the ICO. Please don't. Please don't. But where you do need to report, we've tried to make the reporting process simple and effective. And part of our change management program has included researching the best ways to manage the new volumes of work created by the GDPR's reporting regime. And so looking across the continent has really helped us plan in an informed way. We extrapolated from the work of our Dutch colleagues, and we plan to put in place a breach reporting service that can handle 30,000 reports a year. So quite a challenge to resource. So we've built a telephone-based reporting service that ensures fast, direct entry to the ICO. But if you call our breach reporting line, you will get a human response. And our focus will be on identifying whether your breach is a reportable one, working with you, bringing in whoever we need to be able to help you with your response in those first very critical few days. We've built a dedicated team around breach reporting, and we'll be extending the hours of our office to manage reporting under both the GDPR but also the NIS directive. When I accepted the role of Information Commissioner of the UK, I expected challenge enough to bring in the new data protection laws and representing the ICO at the Article 29 Working Party as it morphs into the European Data Protection Board. What I hadn't anticipated was the result of the referendum on June 23rd, 2016. And the referendum results' impact on our legal and policy relationship with Europe has occupied much of the time that I have been Commissioner. As Commissioner, one of the most important jobs that I do is to independently advise government and Parliament on law reform that ensures high standards of data protection for UK citizens and consumers, no matter where their data is processed, uninterrupted data flows to Europe and the rest of the world, and legal certainty for business and law enforcement. Government has explicitly said that it values data protection as fundamental to the digital economy and security cooperation. Data protection is a priority area for the Brexit settlement. Right now, and these are the questions I get all the time, are you still sitting on Article 29? Right now, the ICO is playing a full role in EU institutions, Article 29, Europol, Eurojust, and we're fully immersed in creating guidance for the GDPR. The ICO is also preparing for the post-Brexit environment in order to ensure that the information rights of UK citizens are not adversely affected. Unfortunately, the most significant unknown, from my point of view, is the exact nature of the relationship that we will have with our DPA colleagues across Europe. During 2 recent speeches, the Prime Minister has made the case for an ongoing role for the ICO, whether that's a seat at the table of the European Data Protection Board with voting rights, or some other form of relationship that is acceptable to the UK and the EU. The ICO is deeply embedded and committed to the EU regulatory community. And that's the message that I've been giving to parliamentarians when I give evidence to committees looking at the implications of Brexit. So the government has thus far made good on its commitments to fully implement the GDPR. And it clearly accepts the importance of high standards of data protection. I think the government should be commended for their commitment and their effort in this regard. And through our expert advice to the government and through our strong engagement with the Article 29 Working Party, we are striving to ensure that the priorities that I identified become a reality. That's heavy. So further to our focus at this conference, let's step back for a moment and remember why we're all doing this. It's about people, and it's about increasing the public's trust and confidence in the way that their data is handled. And this is a very high priority for me. It's a very high priority for our office, and I know it is for you too. I think that the recent revelations in the media have fired up the data protection debate. And so they should. I think across the world, people are beginning to wake up to the importance of personal data. And it's up to us as regulator and those that are striving to comply with the law to keep that fire burning. I think that might be Burning Man. I don't know what that is. If we fearlessly and tirelessly apply the principles that the ICO and the IAPP hold dear, then we can build the public's trust and confidence because their data matters. There has never been a better time to be in data protection. Thank you.